Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the SPEED Xfinty Series here on the Tabletop Trio Podcast Network on both YouTube and Twitch. My name is Bob. Joining me in the booth, as always, is Joe. And Joe, the SPEED Xfinty Series takes its trip to iRacing Superspeedway, a 3-mile unrestricted superspeedway where these drivers are reaching speeds of 240 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's been chaotic during the practices.
I feel like chaos is quite a bit of an understatement here, as we've seen a lot of action, a lot of a lot of side-by-side racing, and well, frankly, just a lot of chaos here in practice. And yes, practice is practice, but the way this track handles and the chaos that this track creates, we are in for one heck of a race tonight.
Yeah, so far I've seen during practice one out of, I'm going to say maybe 40 or 50 crashes that we've seen, I've seen one car recover and not just subsequently wreck.
Yeah, and you see here as the 56 of Richard Reagan spins out on the apron. If we get to green flag pit stops, that is going to be a big key for these drivers, is just kind of keeping the car underneath them. They're used to just flat footing it around, but you can only go about 100, 120 miles an hour on the apron before the car wants to spin. And a couple other things to keep an eye out for is fuel saving. These are unrestricted engines. They're going full speed, 240 miles an hour in the draft. You might have to keep your fuel saving just so you're not stuck out there alone and run out and use a little bit too much during the race. As always, with it being a super speedway race, everyone's going to be packed up, so you have to watch out for the big one. And you have to keep an eye out for the jumps, both going into and out of the corner. Some extremely high banking. And because of that, you know, the track has to kind of change height. And you're going to bounce up in the air coming out of the corner. You're going to drive down into the corner as well. So just have to keep an eye out for it as this race goes on.
Yeah, nice little speed bump entering and exiting, which it's probably not ideal when you're doing about 140.
That is for sure. I mean, take a look here. This is just Reagan here in the 56 machine, all just coming off the pit road, 210 miles an hour into the corner. And that speed is only going to climb after getting a little bit of draft here from the 4 of Reese Bogue. And you know what? Let's jump on board here of Bogue just to get a good idea of the speed that we're going to be seeing here at iRacing Superspeedway. Hard into the corner, you'll see right here the car kind of changes altitude, has to dip into the corner. Momentum is going to want to carry you up the track. And then right here on corner exit, that little shake, that's the car basically getting airborne and having to control it down this long, long back straightaway.
Yeah, definitely a long, long straightaway.
3-mile racetrack, 70 laps tonight. So a 210-mile race. It's the SimRap Guy 210 here at iRacing Superspeedway. Don't forget, you can always check out our friends at SimRap Guy on Facebook, and they're dedicated to blending the passion with precision. SimRap Guy utilizes the experience gained in NASCAR to provide some of the best-looking custom iRacing wraps on the service. SimRap Guy knows that whether you're winning races or just trying to cut your teeth and move up the iRacing ranks, looking good is what matters. You can check him out online, facebook.com/thesimrapguy, and you can place your order today. As we see Reese Bogue having a bit of an issue there as practice is running down. And Joe, let's take a quick look at the standings here for the SPEED Xfinity Series, because it's been a little bit of a shakeup. Reese Bogue is your points leader, but only has a 7-point lead over Martin Plute. Nicholas Cody is in third, tied with Evan Williams for third, actually. Chris Darling in fourth. Stephen Kirby fifth. Tim Branson in seventh. Stan Houseman eighth. Richard Reagan Jr. in ninth. Sidarius Deus in 10th. And these are all the points after last week's race at Lucas Oil Raceway, which, if you missed any of last week's race, what a fantastic finish. And it had everything. Had a little bit of chaos there towards the end. Had a great long run. Lots of pit strategy as well. Was just one heck of a race.
Yeah, truly everything you could ask for that race had.
Want to thank some of our other sponsors here for tonight's race. Obviously, this is the SimRap Guy 210. Our friends at Mark's Pizzeria. Denton County Carpet Cleaning as well. Ace's Axis. And, of course, our friends at the Gold Octopus. You can check them out on Etsy. If you are looking for a wrap from our friends at SimRap Guy, we have the pricing guides here on screen. Very, very affordable for some of the fantastic work that Chris and his team put together. As we have Chris going on in the background. If you want a stock car done, $35. great price for just amazing work. And it has the rest of the packages there on your screen as well. Make sure you check them out, facebook.com/thesimrapguy. Oh, huge wreck.
They didn't even let that one go.
I think they were quite literally saved by the end of the session. So with that being said, now waiting for a couple of drivers to jump out and qualify. There's Matt Allen on pit road. Here's Chris Darling. Darling jumps out. Colton Easterday as well. Stacy Hunter coming out on pit road too. Joe, 45-second laps or so to go 3 miles. Speed is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I was going to say, on like the best days when you're driving and there's no traffic and, you know, you're feeling like, oh, I got 30 miles to be somewhere, but I'm doing, you know, maybe 75, 80. I feel like I'm going to get there so fast. Now imagine them doing 3 miles in 45 seconds.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. And we'll see here. We'll take a look at the speeds that these drivers are going to be hitting into the corner. About 220, 225 into the corner. And the amount of G-forces, there's a reason why this track does not exist and is the only track in iRacing that does not exist in real life. Because that is just body-breaking, yes, forces.
I kind of want to build it, though.
Just to see what would happen. The track technically, I believe, is based outside of Boston, Massachusetts, because that's where the iRacing headquarters is located.
Mm.
As we'll get the scoring bug up on the screen. Just to see who is going to be coming across the line first. Ethan Amberg, the first to put a time in at 48.23. Second lap will always be faster. Chris Darling goes top with a 48.03. Zachary Cox, Ethan Amberg in third. Scott Leonard will move him up to P1. Leonard always with some fantastic looking liquid death machines.
Mm-hmm. Though that could be foreshadowing to these races, because if you crash at 240, liquid death.
Yes, that is quite literally what would happen to these drivers. So Leonard, the fastest lap so far in qualifying, move Ethan Amberg to the top at a 47.29. Chris Darling just slower there at a 47.32. Let's see what Leonard's able to do here. Will he pick up? He does, but only to a 47.57, so that'll slot him in fifth. Reagan coming out of turn 4 on a bit of a steaming lap. Let's see what he can do. Reese Bogue to the point, 47.26. New pole sitter, for now at least, the 56 of Richard Reagan with a 47.21. Him and Gagnon tied it up.
Speaking of Gagnon, I don't know if he got... I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here.
It happened so fast.
At what happened to the 14. No, it looked like he finished his qualifying run and said, "Hey, this looks like fun. Let's watch this. This was something else. We'll put it in slow motion." So he goes down purposefully onto the apron and says, "All right, let's fly."
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, those little flaps on the car will not help you propel the vehicle or steer.
Yeah, they're quite literally there to keep you on the ground. As we head back to live action Looking to see who else is out on the track. Deus is there. Down the back straightaway. Looks like Deus coasting.
So between Reagan Jr. and Gagnon is a 0.007 second difference.
Wow.
And then between Bogue and Plute is a 0.001.
Wow. Absolutely wild. So many drivers with similar lap times. I mean, you see Darling and Allen with a 27. Just absolutely insane what is happening here. But let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup for the SimRap Guy 210 here at iRacing Superspeedway. On the pole for tonight's race is the number 56 of Richard Reagan Jr. with a 47.212. Matt Gagnon in second. Row number 2 has Reese Bogue and Martin Plute. Ethan Amberg, Chris Darling make up row number 3. Row number 4, Matt Allen and Sedaris Deus. Row number 5 has Zach Williams and Zachary Cox. Colton Easterday starts in 11th. Stacy Hunter in 12th. 13th place is Scott Leonard, number 19 Machine. On his outside will be the 33 Evan Williams. Row number 8, Chris Melton in the number 49 Machine and Garrett Austin. Row number 9 has Stephen Kirby and Stan Hausman. Jason Shu, Tim Branson, row number 10. And Ryan Newman starting in the back for tonight's race in 21st place. Well, Joe, we're going to see some chaos. We're going to see some very, very interesting decisions. 3 wide, 4 wide, cars rolling everywhere. This is just going to be a ton of fun.
And it is a packed race. We got 21 drivers here today.
Yeah, 21 drivers out on the circuit as they're getting ready to pull off, get up onto the banking, and make 70 circuits around this 3-mile paperclip shaped racetrack.
How many pits do they have?
I believe they have 3 sets of tires, so we'll likely see definitely 1 pit stop, maybe not 2.
Yeah.
But we should likely see 1 pit stop for tonight. Here is the schedule for the rest of the races this season on your screen. iRacing Superspeedway here. They have 2 sets of tires and I believe a 65% fuel tank. So these guys will certainly need to pit. Next week, they head over to Kansas Speedway, then Twin Ring Motegi for the road course in October, and then ending out October at the Milwaukee Mile. So some very fun races here still left on the schedule. But tonight, Joe, pure chaos for 70 laps. This is going to be a good time.
Yeah, I wonder how many miles per gallon these things get at 240 miles an hour.
More like how many gallons per mile at this point.
I'm figuring it's 3 miles per lap. I'm thinking they're getting about a gallon per lap is my assumption.
That very well could. By the way, tonight's camera is brought to you by our friends at Track Cams for Gourmets. You can check them out in the link in the description below. Well, the pace car makes a hard left turn down pit road. Field in the hands of the 56 of Richard Reagan Jr. Green flag in the air. We're racing here at iRacing Superspeedway. A good, clean run so far for everybody. Getting a good start in. As Reagan and Bo 3 wide all over the track. Very wide racetrack. And a very fast one as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have the helicopter in the air following these drivers. Oh, looks like the 127.
Oh,
trouble.
No. Oh. Ooh.
Huge wreck behind. Scott Leonard involved. Matt Gagnon involved as well. tough break. We're going to have to take another look at that one.
Ugh.
Take a look here at the the number 14 car right there at the center of your screen. Let's see what happened here as he went down low. The 127 grabbed the apron. That shot him up. The 14 was there, got loose because he thought he was going to make some contact. 35 got a little contact from the 60 behind. And then just at this point, nothing the 19 could have done there. Hard into the outside wall. Hit him so hard the engine actually popped through the hood of the 14 as Scott Leonard goes spinning there as well. Oh, I didn't even see the 34 of Garrett Austin got a piece of that.
Did he?
Yeah, let's get another view of that. Let's jump on board with Garrett Austin. So you see the wreck in front of him.
Yeah.
Thinks about going low, and last second he got tapped. I don't know if the 109 of Kirby actually got into him.
Well,
or
hopefully
what.
it's minimal damage.
Let's get another look here. Might have just been a little tap at the end. 109 having a hard time getting slowed down. So 34 drifts up, comes down. Yeah, the 109 just caught the apron. It shot him back up into the 34. Does not look like a bunch of damage, though. So I think Austin and company will be okay. But 65 was involved there as well. 15 of Ryan Newman, too.
I think on the next turn, Zachary Cox ended up. I don't know if he took damage. He was definitely sliding around. But I think he was able to recover.
So we'll see a bunch of cars on pit road getting some damage fixed. Let's get our drone out to inspect some of the damage. So there is some of the damage from the 56 machine. Some heavy contact there. Garrett Austin getting some damage done. Stephen Kirby as well. Zach Williams. Oh, man. Tim Branson missing a hood. The front end pretty well pancaked there as well. So a tough break for all of those drivers on their night. May not be done, but contention, I mean, as long as they can stay in the draft, they should be okay at least.
Mm-hmm. Hey, where's the hood's made out of duct tape?
That'll probably be coming out as well. Either that or they'll drive around without the front end of the car on and just look like an old modified race car.
Well, we said there was going to be chaos.
That is for sure. Some more drivers are heading down pit road. Lights on the pace car likely turning off this time by. And they do. So we'll be going green next time by. And all of that just a product of one car kind of hitting the apron, shooting up a little bit. A couple other cars just having to check up. Got a little loose, and physics did its thing.
Yeah, like you said, they're in that turn about 220 miles an hour. I mean, one person starts swerving a little bit, you're going to slam on your brakes, and your car is going to go, I feel like stopping.
Yeah, I mean, think about even, obviously to a lesser extent, but you're driving on the highway, guy in front of you slams on his brakes, you have to slam on your brakes. You may be stopped, but the guy behind you wasn't expecting, you or the guy in front of you to slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
Looks like Sedaris Deus still on pit road. Same with Zach Williams, Tim Branson, and Ryan Newman.
I was going to say, I wonder if any of them are going to be able to get out of pit, or is that race over for them?
I don't know if it's going to be race over for them necessarily, but I also think you know, that this might
Oh.
be a little bit off. And that is some
Bad.
very heavy damage to I think that's the 35 of Zach Williams. Yeah, that thing is
Crooked.
not driving in a straight line.
Well, the good news is he has to turn. The bad news is I think his car is pointing in the wrong direction.
But I will say, I think this is a very smart move for Williams. He knows he's 2 laps down. He knows he's got a very broken race car. If he can go out and at least try to pick up 1 or 2 laps over the cars that were involved in the wreck, I think he's going to be okay as the green flag is out. I think he'll at least be able to pick up some more spots just because he's out there on the racetrack. Do 1 more lap than the guy who's in the pits with a ton of extra damage. That's a free spot. Some big moves going on in the back with the 65 Zachary Cox. He's gonna go to the high side in front of Chris Melton. Zach Williams heads back down pit road. This really shows you the speed these guys are going into the corner here.
Yeah, just wild speed.
Yeah, right now, taking a look, let's see what our leader is going. 233 miles an hour into the corner. And then some.
Yeah. Just insane speeds.
Good to see them, though, all getting in single file right now and just kind of saying, all right, guys, that was a little too crazy for us. We have 64 laps to go. Let's try to make it to the end. We only have 21 cars.
Right. Well, that might not be the case anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, looking like we're about 15 cars at the moment. As we jump on board here with the 56 of Reagan looking out the back. They are kind of spread out a little bit. But nothing to the point of, you know, the fear of maybe losing the draft or losing any position or anything like that.
Yeah.
I do kind of think that it's also a product of, all right, I don't really want to, you know, I really don't want to overheat the car or cause any engine damage or anything like that. As now the field's starting to get side by side, 2 by 2. Here comes the 60 of Colton Easterday to the high side. He's got a little help from Stacy Hunter behind him. Zachary Cox and Jason Shue there too.
Yeah, they are making a nice little conga line up there. At one point they were almost touching each other, but I think they fanned out a little bit.
You can really see how almost finicky, for lack of better phrases, these cars are coming out of the corner. That little bump there, getting right on the back bumper now of the 127. You can see the flames shoot out of the tailpipe there of the 127. He actually had the lift coming out because he didn't want to get into the back of the car in front of him. Now on the front bumper cam of the 33. 10 laps in, Easterday gets a great run. He's going to get to the inside. Oh, wow, the 27 had to shoot up the track a little bit. Wasn't expecting side-by-side action there.
It's crazy to see these guys passing each other. You know, like they're not foot to the floor already.
Oh, Regan goes up the track. He just might have missed the bottom there, and that sent him up. Now he's on the express elevator to the basement. Reagan was first that time, last time by. Now he's going to slot in just in front of Cox in 7th. Biggest mover of the race is this guy, the 3 of Jason Shu.
I don't know how he's gaining speed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Usually the pack is who has the speed, no?
Always, but it looks like they might actually be playing fuel save mode. As Shu was able to drive by the field all by himself. They might be playing fuel save just to, you know, try to go as far as they can. And they said, all right, if you want to go for it, we'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, now look at the pack just wide open.
Yeah. Shu just says, all right, guys, we're going to jump out here. Got a 0.3 of a second lead, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in Superspeedway racing is basically a mile.
Yeah. Okay, we're back to 2 wide. I'll take that.
Yeah, a little bit further back, 2 by 2 by 2. Allen there on the high side.
It looks like Williams is back out on the track.
Yeah, there is Williams. Car very much damaged, having some heavy rear end damage, and you can see that car is still not driving in a straight line.
I guess he's just trying to pick up some laps.
Let's see if we can get a good straight-on shot of him, because you can see the back end, the right side is shifted pretty far over compared to the front.
Yeah, we know the cars are always usually shifted a little bit over, but this is a little bit more than normal.
Definitely disappointing for the 35. He was hoping to have himself a good run, and now he's just going to have to ride around for the next, 57 laps or so.
Yeah.
Jason Shu out front leading the field. Colton Easterday behind him in second.
Ooh. Newman's back out too.
So we can add Ryan Newman to the list of cars just trying to pick up as many spots as they can. And Zach Williams heads back down pit road. So Jason Shu leads, Colton Easterday in second, Ethan Amberg in third. We've got a side-by-side battle for fifth, just behind Evan Williams. Chris Melton on the outside, Zachary Cox there on the inside. Here comes Allen. Allen's going to shoot him 3 wide.
Bogue moving up real quick, too.
Yeah, there's Reese Bogue there in the middle of all this, and he's just going to say, all right, if Melton wants to go 3, I'll shoot middle 3. Why not? Bogue jumps in front of his teammate. Bogue also racing alongside the Gold Octopus team. Out front, big run by the 49 of Melton. Is Melton going to be able to clear Shu? Don't know if he is or not, with a little bit of help from Allen there. But you can get some crazy runs here because these cars don't have the typical restrictor plate you'd see at drafting tracks. Some crazy runs can happen.
Yeah, I was unaware that there was a restrictor in it.
Yeah, no restrictor plate here at iRacing Superspeedway, but at tracks like Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega, there is.
Chalk that up to the today I learned.
And essentially it just reduces the airflow into the engine, so it produces less horsepower. All the cars are just about the same horsepower. So because of that, they all kind of stay packed up together.
Oh, I thought they were just like 212. That's as fast as you could go.
Nope. Just limited horsepower.
See, we're an educational podcast platform.
Hobbies and those who enjoy them. Which we've got some exciting podcast news to tell you about tomorrow night during the Tabletop Trio podcast.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Going to be joining us on location for a special event, but we'll wait until tomorrow night to make the official announcement. Meanwhile, up front, Jason Shu is leading. Coming up on 18 laps completed here at iRacing Superspeedway. It's the SimRap Guy 210. Make sure you check them out online, facebook.com/thesimrapguy. Chris has real-world NASCAR design knowledge and uses that to make you look good. And once you look good, you race even better.
I'm going to need all of them.
That reminds me, I'm going to have to reach out to Chris to get a couple cars painted up for me.
That's how I'll get to victory. I need him to paint all my cars.
Honestly, it adds an extra 25 horsepower minimum.
Now, if only I could fit RGB in here. I'd be unstoppable.
Now we're just going a little too crazy. So Shu's still the leader. He's got Colton Easterday just on his tail. Melton making a good run on the outside all by himself. Not quite able to do anything.
Wild that he's up there all by himself, just trying to... This doesn't feel like getting back in the line.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm also surprised that they haven't really been as packed up tightly as we were kind of expecting them to be.
Yeah, I think the caution really was like, maybe we keep a little distance.
Little fear of the racing gods in there. I do want to give a shout out to the 15 of Ryan Newman. He is 12 or 13 laps down, but look at him hanging on to the back of the pack. That just shows how, how useful this draft is. He's got some front end damage. Mm-hmm. He's got some rear end damage. That is going to slow him down, but he's able to stay right on the back of the 34 and be able to stay with the pack.
Yeah. And with that, he was able to pass Williams.
Yeah, so we'll move Newman up to 16th. Deus, Branson, Gagnon, and Scott Leonard, the cars out of the race from that incident. Meanwhile, we've got a huge run up front. Evan Williams making a charge to the front. He's got Reese Bogue on his tail. Richard Reagan to the point. Jason Shu going to fight back on the inside, though. He's got the draft from Reagan as well as the 60 of Easterday. As looks like the 14 or the 49 of Chris Melton heads down pit road, Joe.
Yeah, I saw him drop in speed, and I was wondering why.
So maybe he's thinking about taking a two-stop race. But I don't know if doing that by himself is really going to help
Whoa.
him out all too much. He's going to take 2 tires there. Crew going around to take the inside as well. Meanwhile, out front, here comes the field coming through turns 3 and 4. So Melton is going to be falling back a lap. Oh, more cars heading down pit road. We've got green flag pit stops. Big lockup from the guys heading down pit road. So we'll put Amberg, Cox, and Allen down.
So that's interesting. That's what about 20 laps?
Yeah, we're on lap 24 right now. So figure rest of the guys coming down around lap 25. Extend that to lap 50. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting run. And then have a 20-lap shootout towards the end.
Yeah. I saw someone in the pits kind of bump into the wall. No, here comes...
Look at how hard that transition is for these guys to come down pit road.
Yeah, it does not look smooth. Also, the speeds they have to slow down to. I know, so the pits in this, if I'm not mistaken, are 75, which sounds like it's fast, but look how slow they look like they're moving.
Yeah, it looks like 65 miles an hour. I was wrong in the pre-race. So highway speeds down into your pit box. Stop, get 4 tires, and then get yourself going again. Although I am surprised they're taking 4 tires. This doesn't really feel like much of a, 4-tire stop, as here comes the 81 of Martin Plute heading down. He's got Chris Darling and Stan Hausman. So this is I
wonder what the 4 tires is for. Are they really wearing out that quick just with the speed?
They must be, between the speed and the amount of G-forces on these cars.
Yeah. Because I remember...
do kind of think 4 tires might be the play.
Because I remember the Bugatti Veyron, I think famously only gets like 12 miles to a set of tire or something hilarious at full speed.
Jeez.
So with only that knowledge, I have to imagine that they're burning out tires.
Yeah, I mean you are definitely not wrong. As Jason Shu must have gotten caught speeding on pit road, a 62-second pit stop. What a tough break for that 3 machine.
Oof.
As we see Reagan make his way around the 92 of Branson, who's back out on track, 22 laps down. And now here's where it's going to get interesting. Those cars in front, those are the leaders. Plute, Darling, and Hausman. And look at this head of steam, 230 miles an hour right now for Reagan. Flying by them like they're standing still. So we'll move Richard Reagan up to the point. Evan Williams in second. Branson just kind of in a bit of a tough spot. 22 laps down, and that's when Branson's just going to back off a little bit there. We'll get you a good overview of how these cars are running right now at the moment. Darling back in 7th. Everyone back to single file running.
And we see Branson's back in the race.
Yeah, Branson 22 laps down there in 17th place. He has gotten around Zach Williams. Williams on pit road, still trying to get some of that damage fixed from that lap 1 crash.
Oh, here comes Williams.
Evan Williams trying to get a run out of turn 4. He's got some momentum. He's got Reese Bogue behind him, but I wouldn't expect Bogue to jump out of line with Williams. Yeah. Only because Bogue and Regan are teammates. Easterday trying to take a look. Can't quite get anything going to get around Bogue. He's got Melton, but Melton just a little bit too far back to really give a good push. Plute jumps out. He's going to give a nice little shove to the 49 of Melton.
Ooh. Man, when those cars start wiggling back and forth.
Definitely gets sketchy.
Yeah, like real quick.
And you can hear him just play with the throttle ever so slightly. Just to kind of sit there and say, all right, you know, I don't want to go flying off. I want to try to save my tires, maybe go, you know, 3/4 throttle, 65% throttle, something like that, just to try to save fuel. Because these cars are going to have to come down pit road in probably about 20 laps.
Yeah.
Figure they went about 25-ish laps on the first stint. That'll bring you to lap 50.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of them pitted lap 3-ish. So I don't even think they got a full.
You know, you're absolutely right. They all came down on lap 2 or lap 3. Then went, so they can theoretically go 22 laps on fuel. And they last pitted on lap 24, so that's 7 laps ago. So pit stops will probably be coming around lap 45. So because of that, 45 plus another 22. That's just barely gonna make it.
I was actually, if my math is correct, so the NASCAR vehicles get about 18-gallon gas tanks.
Mm-hmm.
I said it was about 3 miles per gallon that they were getting here. I think they're on fuel saving mode, so they're probably getting like 4 or 5. But yeah, that checks out.
Absolutely wild. And unfortunately, if you are a Richard Reagan Jr. fan, that is not great news for the 56 because he's the one out front. He's just going to be using the most fuel regardless because the first car has to cut through the dead air. And, you know, he's going to have to cut through it all. All the drivers behind him have, you know, essentially rippled air to drive through, dirty air, which makes it a lot easier to get through the air, which is why those drivers are faster. They, in turn, push the 56, make him faster. That's how drafting works in general. But on the downside of that, if you're leading your line, you're using more fuel just because you have to cut through the air first.
Yeah.
So we shall see. This could get interesting here, depending on where they come down for to pit for their second stop.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the 35 of Williams was out for a couple laps, now back into the pits. I think he's just trying to fix a little bit of damage, go do a couple laps. Fix a little damage, go do a couple laps. Just to try to stay in it, but...
Yeah, just trying to... Honestly, I'm sure he's just trying to say, look, you know, I know I'm a bunch of laps down, but if something were to happen and my team can get my damage fixed, I can go out and then make up maybe even if it is 2-3 positions, that's still a couple extra points into the standings for you. And at the end of the day, that may or may not be the difference between a playoff berth.
Yeah.
But we shall see how that one's going. Everyone pretty much single file. Looks like there is a second pack that is formed with Garrett Austin and Zachary Cox. Well, they, as I say, that looks like they have caught up with Branson and the rest of the field. And let's see if we can hear if there's any fuel saving going on. Oh, definitely. Typically, they'd be going about 240 miles an hour in the draft. Right now, they're actually going slower than a single car normally would. So some massive, massive fuel saving here. And because of that, that lets the outside line pick up. There's Ethan Amberg, Zach Allen as well. Or Matt Allen, rather. Zachary Cox, too. And look at Branson saying, guys, I don't really want to fuel save. I'm just going to get going. Okay, thanks, bye. So Mark Branson now 21 laps down.
You guys had your fun.
And honestly, if I'm Cox, I'm saying, you know what? Normally, I hate when lap cars are in my way, but I'm okay with this. Let him lead. Let me follow behind him. I'm going to do some max fuel save. And as we say that, Branson goes down to the bottom, leaves Cox up top. Oh, he gets in the wall, too. Take a look at the track map. Not a whole lot of things have changed. See Jason Shu as well as Ryan Newman there towards the back. Shu only one lap down. So at this point, he's saying, I really want a yellow right now.
Allen and Amber are basically touching going into these turns.
Yeah, we'll jump on board here with Amberg. Gets a great run, gets right to the back bumper of the 127.
Close as you can get.
Up close and personal with the bodywork of that 127.
You should definitely put little bumper stickers on the back that are like real small. If you could read this, you're probably in my car.
If you could read this, you were too close.
If you could read this, it's a yellow.
So we've got ourselves a fantastic race going on. Coming up on lap 39. Looks like a second group has started to fall back a tiny bit. That's Chris Darling, Stan Hausman and company. They might be sitting there saying, you know what? They're getting a little too racy up there. We're going to fall back, try to save our own fuel. And just kind of have their second their second pack here, which may work out to their advantage because look at this big push coming from Amberg to Allen. Allen, Amberg, Cox, your top three at the moment.
Looks like the race really evened out after that initial yellow. Now we just got some real good, clean racing.
Yeah, some great racing.
What's crazy is even in the fuel save mode that it seems like they are in, they're doing about 45-second laps.
Which is wild because of, you know, all that fuel saving. in the chat, if you're over on YouTube, let's take a look at the poll. How many yellows do you think we're going to have? None, 1, 2, or 3 more here as we're getting closer? We're just past the halfway mark in the race. As so far, it looks like we're tied between none and 2. We'll keep that poll open for a few more laps just to see what everyone's thinking. And while you're there, feel free to subscribe, follow along on Twitch. In the chat, Zach Austin says, "Let's go, team the Gold Octopus." So we're having a little bit of 4-car breakaway at the moment between Amberg, Cox, Allen, and the 92 of Branson. Another 4-car breakaway between Bogue, Williams, Easterday, and Reagan. And then the rest of the field with Hunter, Austin, Kirby, Hausman, Plute, and company. So you can see the gaps here. The 71 and company very, very far back, almost 3/4 of a straightaway behind the second pack of cars. So a lot of fuel saving going on. A lot of drivers just trying to stretch that extra mile. This group just entering turn 3, now coming out of turn 4. Matt Allen and company leading, driving into turn 1 at this time. Look at that gap right there. So some very, very interesting bits of strategy here. Now on the pole, a lot of people starting to think 2 cautions are left. 67% of the vote. We'll leave this up for another couple of laps just to see what everyone else thinks. Wayne Newman says we need another big one to help. Ryan Newman got caught up in that first wreck, that's for sure, as everyone comes down pit road, Joe.
Yeah, so that's about 22 laps. So there's, if the math is checking out here, they're going to pit again at around lap 66.
Which means they are going to have to come down. It's going to be interesting now to see if they take 4 tires, 2 tires, no tires.
I'd have to imagine you're going to take 2 and then save 2 for that lap 60, right?
Well, the only issue is if you take 2, you can't, and they only have 2 sets of tires in the pits. If you wind up taking 2 and you take right sides, you're not going to be able to take right sides the next time by. As here comes the rest of the field flying off the pit road. Wow. Look at this gaggle. Now they just have to remember to kind of tread on thin ice here as they're riding along this apron. Not a lot of grip. There's no banking to rely on. As here comes Stephen Kirby and Stacy Hunter heading down pit road. Same with Garrett Austin.
At least they have the perfect 77-degree day instead of it being like 110.
That is very true.
They got one thing in their favor.
They've got plenty of grip showing. As Kirby hits his box, there goes Garrett Austin, Stacy Hunter as well. So right now, these 4 drivers, the only drivers who have yet to come down to make their second pit stop. I would expect to see these guys coming out this time by.
See, I would be on their boat. If I'm them, I'm trying to get to 23 to 22 laps left, and then I'm going to pit, knowing that I'm going to have my last pit last the rest of the race.
Yeah, just trying to stretch as long and as much as they can. And if they're far enough ahead, they may still be able to keep the lead, depending on how this strategy turns out for them.
Right.
As they go around the 109 of Hunter and company, or Kirby and company.
Yeah, that also assumes that no other yellows come out.
Yes. That is going to be the huge difference maker there. So at the end of the poll, looks like everyone thinking we're getting 2 more yellows after this. As the rest of the field makes their way down pit road, Stan Hausman, Martin Plute, and Chris Darling. 35-second difference for them, so they might actually be able to keep the lead if they can all get on their pit box in time. Oh, Chris Darling overdrives his pit box. But it looks like they're going fuel only.
Really?
Trying to save a set. But there goes the field. So those 3 are going to be stuck pretty far behind, and they're going to be wanting a caution.
Uh-oh. Well, looks like they might get one. Nope. He recovers. Zachary Cox slid out, but was able to recover.
Take a look at that one here on the Tabletop Trio replay. So here is Cox in the 65. Goes high. Has a massive slide. Wow.
But recovery, no yellow. So they thought, oh, maybe we got something for us, but that is.
Oh, look at that. There was a car down on the apron. Who is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's Tim Branson. What happened in the 92? Just snapped loose on him hard into the wall. I am shocked there's no yellow for that.
Yeah, no yellow on that?
No, we're going to stay green.
Wow. I wonder because no contact from anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's because he wasn't near anyone.
Oh.
You just felt him lose the back end. And yeah, there's no other car in sight, so no yellow.
I lost count of how many times that spun.
A lot, I feel like, is the answer.
Yeah. That's made me dizzy.
So out front, Ethan Amberg leads over the 127 of Matt Allen. Richard Reagan Jr. in third, Reese Bogue, his teammate, fourth, Evan Williams, Colton Easterday in fifth and sixth. And then we're going to have to wait 11 seconds for this pack, including Chris Melton, Zachary Cox, Stephen Kirby, and more. And then we're going to have to wait even longer for Garrett Austin, who unfortunately is all by himself, lost the draft. So out front, we have the 14 of Ethan Amberg as your point person. Coming up on the lap car of Jason Shu.
Oh, okay, that's going to be yellow.
Oh, trouble!
Kirby and can't quite see who the other one was.
Looks like that might have been Cox, but let's take a look at it on the replay here. So we see the 65 of Cox already spinning sideways. Oh! Huge, huge contact. Let's get one more look at that as we see the 65 already sideways, hits the apron, which shoots him right back up the track.
And then
into a heavy, heavy lick. So that is going to bring our caution out. So there's caution number 1 for those of you who have voted for 2.
So does Shu get his lap back or no?
He should be the lucky dog, yes.
So just like that, Shu's back in it.
Well, then again, he might have gotten lapped as the yellow flag came out. So we'll have to see. Which, let's take a look to see where Shu was in accordance to the yellow flag. So here is Jason Shu. Let's take a look to the right side of the track to see if you can see any yellow flag lights at the time of caution. Because this is going to tell you whether or not he got his 1 lap back or if he gets lapped by the time the yellow flag comes out. Take a look here. And you know, I can't exactly tell.
And as that's happening, it looks like everyone's going to pit.
So this is the money stop for all of these drivers. They're going to get packed right back up. 17 laps to go, so they do not need to pit anymore. As we see Amberg and Allen driving off. Reagan and Bogue here. Chris Mountain, Colton Easterday, Evan Williams, 2. There's the 35 back out, Zach Williams. Stan Hausman making his way out on track 2. So this could get interesting. And
Very
Joe,
much so.
Good news, it looks like Jason Shu has gotten his lap back. So we'll move Jason Shu back onto the lead lap as he comes down to make his pit stop now. That's not Jason Shu. There's Jason Shu. Martin Plute in the chat says, man, all that math for nothing. So it's our second lap, or second caution flag of the night.
So everyone's trying to do calculus to figure out how many laps they have left, how much gas they could get. There's a caution with 17 to go, so it's basically just fill her up, have fun.
You know, I thought I saw a smoking and flaming calculator get thrown out onto pit road from the box of Martin Plute, and yeah, I definitely don't blame him for that. So we're going to re-rack him with 15 laps to go. Looks like Jason Shu getting some damage fixed. He might be a lap down yet again. But the good news is we're going green with 15 laps to go. No one's going to want to give an inch now. There's no more riding along. You're going full throttle. So I feel like the folks that voted for 2 more yellows are going to be on the right side of the poll here. Wayne Newman says should be another spot or 2 for Newman after that. I think you might be right. Looks like Kirby is considered out of the race. So we'll see here. Looks like Kirby completed 51 laps. Ryan Newman has completed 38 laps. So I think if Newman completes every single lap from here on out, he will be able to get past Kirby.
Yeah.
Then again, I went to school for broadcasting and not math, so your results may vary.
Yeah, we got to go get that flaming calculator from out on the track.
Representation of my brain trying to do math. But here we go. 15 lap shootout. Pace car is off. Green flag in the air. Ethan Amberg gets on the loud pedal. And he's going to pull out to a pretty good lead over the 127 of Matt Allen, as he's got Richard Reagan just behind him, all over his back bumper. Allen's going to slot in behind Reagan. Side by side between Melton and Reese Bogue, a little bit further back. And these races really are the great equalizer. This is one of those things where as long as you keep your car clean, keep yourself in a good position, you're going to have yourself a good race.
Mm-hmm.
Does not matter, you know, whether or not you've got the skill set to master a 1.5 oval or a short track or a road course. Here, it's the great equalizer. Everyone is just as good as the other guy. And it shows now. 14 laps to go, and they're packed up here at the front. 3 wide going through turns 1 and 2. Easterday on the top. He's got some help from Melton. They now go 3 wide. Looks like there's a car spinning on the apron into turn 3. I think that might have been the 19 of Scott Leonard, as we see a ton of smoke through here. As Leonard heads down pit road. 13 laps remaining. Will we see another yellow, and where is it going to come from?
Yep.
That's the question. Oh, Amberg sideways. Big save. Wrecking in front of him. Somehow they kept it all going in the right direction.
I don't think Shoe's going to recover from that one.
Wow.
And no yellow.
That was wild. Let's take a look at that one on replay as some trouble happens for Jason Shoe. Shoe sideways hard across the banking. He's able to keep it going in the right direction. Evan Williams as well went for a spin.
I'm shocked that didn't get yellow.
So now the top 4 has driven away by about 2 seconds. Bogue, Reagan, and Easterday here. Chris Melton and the rest of the field in the second pack, just about 2 seconds back. If they're able to stay in a straight line and give each other as good of a push as they can, they might be able to catch that top 3. But we'll see. Big wiggle there for the 127. Allen up into the wall, gets tagged by the 34. They're going to fall back a little bit. Stacy Hunter there gets to the inside of the 14. This is exactly what the top 3 want to see. These guys getting racy.
As long as there's no yellow that comes out. Get racy, but don't touch each other.
Yeah. Get to the line of caution, but don't cross it.
Yeah. Which, again, I'm shocked that we are not currently in.
Last time by, looks like the fastest car on track was Reese Bogue with a 45 flat. There is your gap between the leaders and the rest of the field. We now approach 9 laps remaining. Regenboog Motorsports out front, affiliated loosely with the Gold Octopus team.
Oh! Big wreck, 10 and 11, Amberg and Allen.
Let's take a look at that
no
one.
yellow.
Let's take a look at that one on the replay. Oh, caution. Well, no need to throw out the old replay sign, so let's take a look. Looks like trouble for Garrett Austin here in the pack. Austin got loose, came up track, collects Hunter as well as a 14, and that is a very, very damaged race car.
Yeah, the tires aren't supposed to look like they're in Mario Kart.
Definitely not. We'll back this one up just a little bit. Let's take a look here. On board with the 71 of Stacy Hunter, the Denton County carpet cleaning machine, as we see the 34 Garrett Austin just gets sideways there, comes down, just like we saw earlier, hits the apron, shoots back up the track. Yeah, hard lick. You see the wheel completely off. Bumper and hood gone. Some very, very broken race cars. Looks like Jason Shue also crashed. Whoa!
Yeah. Oh,
big loose there. That wasn't even wasn't even a part of the race.
Yeah, I think, like I said, he took a little bit of damage from that first wreck before we went into that caution. It was a little bit of a wreck, but no caution flag, and he did take a little hit. I wonder if that just loosened one of his tires.
Yeah, that very well could have caused a little bit of damage there.
Just like that. Third caution. So those of you in the chat who said 2, so far you got it, but there's still 8 to go.
Well, let's dial up our second place driver in the points, Martin Plute, just to see what his thoughts are now as we're getting ready to come back, have a little bit of a shootout here. As we'll pull him up into the broadcast booth. Hey, Martin Plute, it's Bob and Joe up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Well, we're definitely a lot more calm than I'm sure it's about to be down there on the racetrack. You know, that yellow, like you had mentioned in the chat, just, you know, all that math for nothing. Now it's going to come down to a 5-lap shootout.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. Not a whole lot of cars here to get anything going, so it might be kind of boring. Who knows? But the top line's not exactly the best thing in the world here, so we'll see how it works out. I don't know. It's kind of got 3-on-3, the first 3 cars, and then Stan, me, and Chris. So we'll see what we can do here.
Yeah, well, without giving away any strategy, what you know, what are your thoughts? Yeah, how do you think you're going to tackle this start, and you know, just work together with your teammates?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'll do whatever they do. We had it worked out before that caution. We were the only 3 that were going to make it, so the smoke from the calculators was working well, but was not meant to be. So we'll have to go win it. Not on fuel strategy this week, but just being faster. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll follow whatever Stan and Chris want to do, but it's going to be tough.
Well, we'll get you back there with your teammates.
Yeah, we have some interesting information. Reese is going to the top, so that makes sense actually here. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll get you back there with your teammates. Good luck the rest of the way, Martin.
All right, thanks, guys.
So, a little bit of strategy playing out here. 1 to go. This could get interesting, Joe.
Very, very, very much so.
So Reese Bogue takes the top. Richard Reagan there on the bottom. I'm sure it's going to be a green flag. Bogue jumps in front of Reagan. Reagan lets him in.
Mm-hmm.
And then this way, Reagan, Bogue, and the 60 of Easterday can all just kind of freight train themselves. I'm sure out of anyone, those top 3 did not at all want to see a yellow. They had a 2-second lead at a super speedway, The second pack started to get a little racy there towards the end. Unfortunately, was not meant to be, but fortunately for us, we're going to get another restart with 6 to go, or with 5 to go, rather.
Yeah.
So the field's slowly behind the pace car. Well, we say slowly, but 90 miles an hour behind the pace car. Looks like the 56 just trying to save fuel a little bit, warm up the tires a tiny bit as well. But we shall see. Pace car pulls off. Green flag in the flagman's hand. Slow crawl to the restart zone. Green flag is out. We're racing here at iRacing Superspeedway, and just like that, Bo gets the jump. He'll jump down in front of his teammate in the 56. Looks like Darling, Hausman, and Ploot are going to take the top side, try to get something to work there. Ploot did just say, hey, you know, that top side may not work out all that well. As they kind of said, yeah, we're going to drop down to the inside. They're going to get a good run, though, coming down the back straight away. Hausman and Ploot jump to the top side. They've got help. Only 3 cars on the inside. Everyone else goes to the top.
Interesting.
As now they're side by side. The top side slides up the racetrack. That's going to give a little bit more momentum now to the bottom line. But it's a little straighter of an exit from the top. Here comes Hausman trying to get a push from Ploot, who's getting pushed by Allen. But the 4 and the 56 not able to, or not needing to make any moves. That inside line is so good here at iRacing Superspeedway.
Yeah, once they got 3 going, working with each other, it's kind of just like, how you going to catch them?
Yeah, you might be able to pass 1, maybe 2, but all 3... it's going to be difficult. But who knows? Maybe they'll get racy. Maybe Easter Day is going to say, I helped you guys enough. Now it's my turn to go for the win. And in doing that, it's definitely going to slow down this top 3. There goes Melton on top. Oh, the 127 sideways.
Uh-oh.
Big crash. Ploot involved. Newman involved. Tough break. It looked like the 127 got a little bit sideways. And unfortunately for him, that might mean the end of the race. We already see the 127 sideways here. Just like we saw. Clips the apron, shoots him up the track, gets into Newman. Darling able to skate on through. And around goes the 127 and company. Ploot heavily damaged.
Yeah.
Ryan Newman there heavily damaged as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's even making it to the pits.
So now with all that said and done, only 8 cars currently with a chance of winning, maybe even 7 with the amount of damage that Allen has. Then again, Ethan Amberg has some pretty heavy front end damage himself. Look at that.
Yeah.
If we gave out awards for the stick-to-itiveness of a driver, it would absolutely go to the 35 of Zach Williams. Williams involved in a lap 1 crash. Slowly getting his car fixed. He is 40 laps down. But that car is driving a heck of a lot straighter now.
Yeah.
And he's already passed Branson, Richard, Scott Leonard, Sedaris Deas, as well as Matt Gagnon. So he's picking up some spots. as we see Williams, Plute, Amberg, Melton all heading down pit road. So now we have 3 to go. Looks like we're probably going overtime now.
Mm-hmm.
As Cox gets his lap back. And well, those of you who said 2 more cautions should have voted 3.
I think the chat was expecting there to be a little bit more caution. Not yellows, but, driving caution.
Yeah. So now this basically turns into a 3 versus 2. You have Bogue, Regan, and Easterday versus Hausman and Darling. With some heavy damage for Amberg. Melton should be okay unless he got caught up in an incident. Matt Allen has some damage. Martin Plute, heavy damage. He's likely out. Cox is 5 laps down. And so on. So I think this is really only going to come down to the top 5 drivers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, crazier things have happened, Joe.
Yeah. So now with that, you're not going to be able to pile up and beat him with speed on the top. So how do they plan to get around him?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the $1 million question. Is they're going to be lining up to go green next time by. We're in overtime now. Yeah, that's going to be the big question. Do you if I'm the 11 or the 39, I'm saying, all right, whatever I do, whoever's in front needs to push like their race depends on it. Maybe try to sneak down to the inside in a corner, get a bump and just kind of, push one of the cars up track and make them lose momentum. Hope the 4 and the 56 with the 60, all 3 of them just kind of, fight for first versus just saying, I'm good with second, I'm good with third.
Yeah.
Maybe let them get a little dysfunctional and try to steal the win.
I think Amberg is going to try to slingshot his way on that green.
Yeah, it looks like Amberg is just coming out of turn 2 now. You see on the screen there, Amberg in the number 14.
Melton close by.
Yeah, Chris Melton as well. Looks like Melton and Cox both should be able to catch the field before they go green.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought they were going to try to wait until the cars are just going to go green and then just floor it and hope that they could do something crazy.
The old Kyle Busch school of restarts did that once. Definitely one of those technically allowed, but also kind of frowned upon strategies.
And here I thought I just invented it. Oh.
But here we go. Pace car is off. Green flag in the air. Good jump there by Bogue. He's going to jump down in front of his teammate yet again. There's Stan Hausman on the top side. He has Amberg pushing. Don't forget, Amberg has a bit of front-end damage from that accident earlier on in the race. So we'll see here as the field spreads out. Looks like they're going to drop down single file. Amberg trying to stay up with the 11 of Chris Darling. Darling gets a good move, or gets a good run, rather, but he's right on the bumper of the 39 of Hausman. On board with the Simrap Guy machine. Two laps to go. White flag in the air now. Will they be able to get a run going? 1 lap to go here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Reese Bogue has the lead. Here comes Hausman. Hausman sticks his nose in low. He's going to get sideways. Hausman into the wall hard. We'll keep it here. Now it's up to Chris Darling. Is Darling going to be able to steal the show?
I think Easterday's going to catch up.
Reagan in second. Here comes Easterday thinking high. Will that one work? Coming out of turn number 4. Checkered flag in the air. Reese Bogue trying to hold him off. Bogue is going to get the win by 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, it was a close one.
Let's take a look at that finish. We'll see if we can get that one slowed down for you. Trying to get it slowed down, but by 1/100th of a second, Reese Bogue is gonna get the win. As we'll try to get it as close of a freeze frame as we can. So there is your freeze frame. Reese Bogue over Richard Reagan coming to the line. Wow.
You can't say that wasn't close.
That is for sure, as Reagan's going to, or Bogue rather, is going to burn it down. We'll get our top 3 drivers into the waiting room just to chat with them and see all that went on. And Joe, I believe you've caught up with our 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 60 machine, Colton Easterday.
Just a half a second.
Hey, Colton. Congrats
Hello.
on the podium finish.
Thank you.
What was your strategy going into this race?
Survival.
Yeah, there were a lot of yellows. Were you planning to kind of hold 3rd, kind of let Bogue in, or were you trying to vie for the top there?
Well, our plan was to stick together till the end there, and I really don't understand where the 39 thought he was gonna go. But our main plan was stay in line, and then we kind of just drag races out to the finish. But yeah, it was pretty much our plan the whole time, just to stick together. Because without that first yellow there, we were really we were gone.
Yeah, you guys had a long break out there until the second yellow came in, and that kind of reset you guys. But you were still able to kind of pull ahead and stick to what you were doing, which was fantastic. How was your? Did you guys go according to your fuel plan, or did the yellows kind of adjust your strategies?
So we were a little short. Like after that little last bit of caution there, we didn't really have to save as much, but we were a little short up until probably about 15 to go with that caution. But we were just going as far as we could on fuel, pitting, and then getting back to it. We were saving pretty much the whole time up till about 15 to go.
Got ya. Well, awesome race. You got any shout outs for us?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to Gold Octopus, thank you to all my teammates, thank you to Outlier and Dinner Detective, my sponsors, and thank you guys for putting on this broadcast.
Thank you, and good luck next weekend for you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
That was our 3rd place finisher, Colton Easterday, and now joining us in the booth, the 2nd place finisher, driver of the number 56 machine, Richard Reagan. And Richard, congrats there on P2. Had a pretty good run there with your teammates coming to the line. Talk us through your strategy there. Looked like, just kind of hang out together and race coming out of 4.
Yeah, pretty much. After I don't remember which caution it was, but we had like a 3.5-second lead. Me, Reese, and Colton. And we were like, oh wow, we actually work really good together. So when the caution came out, in the following cautions after that, we were just like, well, we'll just have restart on the top and then drop down in front of me. Colton's already lined up behind me, and we'll just push out. And then, as always at any super speedway, coming off of 4, it's anyone's game. So it was a nice finish between us 3, and nice execution all night long.
And before the last couple of cautions there, you had a long green flag pit stop. I know a couple of guys were saying, all right, I think we're able to make it all the way from here on out. If those yellows didn't come out, were you guys going to be like a lap or 2 short?
So the other guys were going to be good. I was going to be short, just because I was the lead car. And unless you're like really tucked up behind somebody, you can't really save fuel. That second run, that long green flag run, I never went more than like 65% throttle, and I was still a lap and a half shorter than the other guys on the team. So I was going to be short. So I'm glad the caution came out for me. But then that third or second to last caution, when we had that huge lead, I was hoping we were going to stay green, but it was nice that we all got 1, 2, 3 still. It sucks that I think it was Evan. He got into an incident with a couple laps to go, and he's having a good run. But I'm just proud of everybody on the team working together, and it was nice to survive the race.
That's for sure. Taking a look now, next week, Kansas Speedway. What are your thoughts there, and how do you think your chances are to get back up on that podium next week?
Yeah, Kansas is one of my best mile and a halves, so definitely looking to win next week, and haven't driven the Xfinity car in a little bit, so I'll put in some practice, and hopefully I can just stay out front all night long and be able to bring home the checkered flag in P1.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, I'm sure you have some shout outs, so let's hear them.
Yeah, Reese and Colton for working together all night with me. The Gold Octopus, Regenboog Motorsports, Stant Analyzer, Jay-Z Photography, Neonism Paints, Susan G. Komen, the Race for the Cure. It's obviously October, which is breast cancer awareness. Multiple Sclerosis Society, Neonism Paints, you guys that put on the broadcast, and everyone that puts on the league.
Awesome. Well, Richard, congrats there on your second place finish. Looking forward to seeing you out there next week at Kansas.
Thank you.
All right. And now, Joe, I believe you've made your way down into victory lane. We're chatting with our winner of tonight's Sim Rap Guy 210, Reese Bogue.
Hey, Reese. Congratulations on the victory. Fantastic race for you guys and your team today. Did you have any issues with like handling in the draft or when you were transitioning in and out of those corners today?
I would say in the draft, it kind of depended on how you got in the air, the wake of the guy in front of you. If you got like below it, like left front below his left rear, kind of got a little loose. If you were kind of any off center to the right to that, you got tight. So it just depended. But yeah, the transition in definitely later in the run with the hot tires was making it pretty slick. I mean, I was starting to get loose into one a lot, and that having to stay with a little bit. I mean, wasn't anything crazy, but I could definitely feel it. So, wasn't really comfortable there, but just said, I got to drive it to the finish here. So,
Speaking of the hotter tires, with so many cautions throughout the race, kind of disrupting the flow and how you were you able to kind of, or how did you get into a rhythm to kind of stay where you needed to for the whole race?
yeah, once we had the green flag run pretty good there, and we're all the Gold Octopus guys slash Regenboog Motorsports guys. We're all talking and just trying to work together and see where his fuel was at, and our main goal was kind of just trying to keep everybody's in the team as close together as possible and figure out what to do from there. I'd say as far as rhythm, since it's just I'm not gonna say flat out, but it was easy. It wasn't like a Bristol or like a Martinsville where once you get out of the rhythm, you're off whack for a couple laps. If you dive in a quarter, you get right back in the next. So as far as rhythm, it wasn't that bad, but as far as the race flow, we all did pretty good. Everybody in general by keeping it clean right through the middle portion of that race.
Yeah, it was pretty great. There were several cautions, but it was usually in the back or more the back of the pack, so you guys weren't really affected. Again, congratulations. Fantastic race for you guys, especially with the 1-2-3 finish. Do you have any shout outs for us?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Marconi Seb Shops, Stint Analyzer, Neonism Paints, just everybody, the Gold Octopus, especially Rich Colton, Evan there, a couple of other guys that were working with us up in the front there, and I know a couple of them got caught up in some wrecks. That sucks for them, but thank you everybody. Thank you guys for putting this on. Thank you to all the viewers, and man, maybe I don't have to win next week. Maybe I do. I don't know. I kind of want to start in the back again after what I went through last week at the winning a couple in a row there. So felt like we were fast there, even after the damage and threw a Hail Mary at the end. But I don't know. We'll see what happens next week at Kansas. I'm not that great there, but then we go to our road course. So we'll figure out what happens there in the next few weeks.
Well, congratulations again, and looking forward to next week. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, that will do it for our interviews tonight. And let's take a look at the final standings for tonight's race. It's the SimRap Guy 210 here at iRacing Superspeedway. And getting the win, you just heard from him, Reese Bogue. And Richard Reagan Jr. comes in second, 11 one-thousandths of a second behind, side by side there at the line. Colton Easterday comes home third, 51 one-thousandths of a second. Chris Darling comes back to finish fourth. Ethan Amberg in fifth. Chris Melton comes home sixth. Stan Hausman, first car and only car, 1 lap down. Matt Allen in eighth, 5 laps down. Same with Martin Plute in ninth. Zachary Cox 6 laps down in 10th. Evan Williams 8 down in 11th. Stacy Hunter, Garrett Austin, Jason Shue, Ryan Newman, Stephen Kirby, Zach Williams, Tim Branson, Scott Leonard, Sidarius Diaz, and Matt Gagnon round out the field for tonight's race. Joe, a very fun one, a very stressful one, I'm sure, at times for a lot of these drivers. But this was a heck of a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to be racing at Kansas. Fun, flat out, 1.5 mile racetrack. You can run the wall, you can run the bottom, you could run the middle. So plenty of passing opportunities, some great racing we're going to see then.
Always excited.
So for programming for us, at least here on the Tabletop Trio Podcast Network, you can join us tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on YouTube, as well as Twitch for the Tabletop Trio Podcast. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts starting Thursday, usually around 7, 8 o'clock. You'll be able to download that episode of the podcast. Monday night, you can join the guys at the Total Nonstop Racing League, 8 o'clock Eastern, and then right back here Tuesday night at 9 with the rest of the Speed Xfinity Series. So for one final time, I am Bob.
I'm Joe.
This has been the Tabletop Trio Podcast, broadcasting the Speed Xfinity Series. Have a great night.